الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ويتجدد اللقاء بكم مع غزوة أحد. قد وصلنا بفضل الله ورحمته إلى موقع وهي نزول الرماة من جبل أحد. فإن شاء الله في هذه الليلة سنتكلم عن هذا الموقف العسير العظيم الذي مر على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى جيشه. So tonight, inshallah, we'll resume our talk and our conversation about the Ghazwat of Uhud. And tonight, inshallah, I just wanna remind myself and remind you, when a disobedience takes place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through His ultimate sunnah, changed the course from victory to defeat. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not basically act toward any human being in any favor. As long as there is obedience between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through His 99 names, will work for you. As long as there is obedience. Once you break the obedience, there is no kinship, there is no relationship between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah does what He does for the human being, He leaves him for Himself. Means seek your own guidance beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in this particular instance, in this particular moment, the Muslims were gaining the ground. Muslims were defeating the Quraysh. Muslims were really energized by the speech of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the dunya is, when you are attracted to dunya, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we know, has placed only one heart in every human being. There is one heart. And it is up to us either to fill it with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or to fill it with the love of this dunya. But we cannot, this heart cannot combine both. Dunya is a stage. So these rumah, about 50 rumah that the Prophet ﷺ made it clear. He said, even if you saw us being killed, do not move from your position. Do not move from your position. So that's what the command and of the Prophet ﷺ. But unfortunately, this rumah, as soon as they seen that the Muslims were winning, they start thinking about worldly matters. What mean? Now these people who are fighting, they're gonna get hold of the booties first, al-ghanima. You see? So they said they will get that good, so we're not gonna have no share of it. Okay, so they said they were not going to have no share of it at all. So what they did, they said, يا قوم الغنيمة لقد ظهر جيش محمد على قريش. So that's what they start calling, that let us go, to get our share before the other army would not leave us anything. So Abdullah ibn Jubayr reminded them. And he said, you don't remember the advice of the Prophet ﷺ? What the Prophet ﷺ said to us? To remain intact. To remain in this position, not to move without the orders of the Prophet ﷺ. They said, so they did not listen to Abdullah ibn Jubayr. So now another disobedience to their leader, beside the leader of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And so they went down into the battlefield to get what? The booties, the spoils of the war from them. They were so anxious to get these booties to the extent they were not be able to separate, to distinguish between their fellows army and their armies and the army of Quraysh. So what happened? They got so much disoriented, they become very disorganized between them, to the extent that by mistake they killed one of the Sahaba. The Muslims themselves killed one of the Sahaba. His name is Al-Yaman. Al-Yaman is the father of Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman. And Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman, he's Amir Nusir with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He had a list of 70 hypocrites that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam left with him. And after the death of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Umar radiallahu anhu would come, showing his humbleness, would come to Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman and he would tell him, is my name among the 70 names of the hypocrites? And Umar radiallahu anhu, being the Khalifa of the Muslimin, would not lead the Salah of a Janazah unless he sees Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman leading that Salah. So because he knows that this is not a munafiq. And the Prophet and Umar radiallahu anhu had a stand against this munafiqeen. Is good now? So he had a stand against those munafiqeen. So the Sahaba, those who came down, those who disobeyed the order of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they got engaged in that army, you know what I'm saying? And by being disorganized, being disoriented, they killed one of the Sahaba, Al-Yaman, which is the father of Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman. Who sees the opportunity and sees that these about 40 of them left their position? Khalid al-Walid radiallahu anhu. Khalid al-Walid, at that time he was not a Muslim. So he took advantage and he went after the 11 and he killed all of them. With his cavalry, with his army. He killed all those 11, including Abdullah ibn Jubayr. And then what happened? The entire course of the battlefield has changed to the side of whom? Of Quraysh. Abu Sufyan spotted that Khalid ibn Walid is on top, basically on the back, facing the army of Muslims. So what they have done, they got re-energized. They got encouraged by that, so they came back to fight the Muslim, and they came actually this time with might, with strength, with fierce, and they start killing the Muslims. About 70 were killed at that moment. They were coming very close to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, through the intensity of that battlefield, his nose was broken. His ruba'iyya, the front teeth, were broken. وَشُجَّ فِي رَأْسِهِ. He was wounded into his head. That's how intense. So one of the Quraysh, the Prophet ﷺ had 9 Sahaba, 7 from the Ansar and 2 from the Muhajirin, basically just guarding the Prophet ﷺ, being under his protection. So the closest was the Prophet ﷺ was Mus'ab ibn Umayr. Mus'ab ibn Umayr كان يشبه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. The appearances of Mus'ab ibn Umayr, he used to look like the Prophet ﷺ. When he was killed, he shouted and he created a chaos among the army of the Muslims that Muhammad ﷺ indeed has been killed. That he had been killed. And this particular incident, it reminded me when the Prophet ﷺ indeed died, in chaos was among the Sahaba. They could not believe, and among them was Umar radiallahu anhu. They could not believe that the Prophet ﷺ would die and would leave them with nobody, no leadership. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ الرُّسُلُ أَفَإِنْ مَاتَ أَوْ قُتِلَ انقَلَبْتُمْ عَلَى أَعْقَابِكُمْ وَمَنْ يَنْقَلِبْ عَلَى عَقِبَيْهِ فَلَنْ يَضُرَّ اللَّهَ شَيْئًا وَسَيَجْزِي اللَّهُ الشَّاكِرِينَ. That in this ayah, that Muhammad was a prophet among all the prophets. So if he died or he was killed, why should you revert back on your back? I mean, go into the kufr. You know what I'm saying? So at that moment, when the news reached the army of the Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was killed, a group stopped fighting. Another group moved toward Medina. Moved toward the Medina. And what unfortunately I was reading in some of the, especially some of the Shia main explanation of this ghazwa, they said among those who fled was Umar, Abu Bakr and Uthman. They have to do every worst thing. I just don't, sometimes I say to myself, how these three people got the leadership of a Muslims? Because every time something that when it comes to these three, they said they were the first three to run away from the battlefield. But that's beside the point. So at that moment, when the news reached the Sahaba, the army of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they reached that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is dead, is been killed. So a group of Sahaba went and like they raised the white flag, and a group went back to Medina. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a beautiful description of the Quran in Surah Al-Imran. Surah Al-Imran has some detailed description of Ghazwat Uhud. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَقَدْ صَدَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ وَعْدَهُ إِذْ تَحُسُّونَهُمْ بِإِذْنِهِ حَتَّى إِذَا فَشِلْتُمْ وَتَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ وَعَصَيْتُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا أَرَاكُمْ مَا تُحِبُّونَ مِنْكُمْ مَنْ يُرِيدُ الدُّنْيَا وَمِنْكُمْ مَنْ يُرِيدُ الْآخِرَةَ ثم صرفكم عنهم ليبتليكم والله ذو فضل على المؤمنين والله ذو فضل على المؤمنين. So these people, this ayah pertaining to those 40 people who have left their position. Now for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for those who went back to Medina, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again revealed the Quran about them. But these people, Allah indeed has forgiven them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in ayah in Surah Al-Imran, وَإِذْ تُصْعِدُونَ وَلَا تَلْوُونَ عَلَى أَحَدٍ وَرَسُولُهُ يَدْعُوكُمْ فِي أُخْرَاكُمْ فَأَثَابَكُمْ غَمًّا بِغَمٍّ لِكَيْ لَا تَحْزَنُوا عَلَى مَا فَاتَكُمْ وَلَا مَا أَصَابَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ بِخَبِيرٌ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this beautiful ayah is addressing those who have left the battlefield. And we know, remember what we said, السبع الموبقات. Remember we talk about السبع الموبقات? One of them is التولي يوم الزحف. One of the 7 destroyers that will destroy the deen of a Muslim is when you are in the battlefield, you have no permission to leave and to run away and to go back. It is haram to do that in the battlefield. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is revealing to these people. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam later on, who will spotted him that he was not killed? Ka'b ibn Malik. Ka'b ibn Malik said, he saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was not killed. So Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you should not say anything. So the mushrikeen will continue their attack on the Muslim. He said, we may just keep it quiet and don't say anything. So Ka'b ibn Malik, he kept it quiet. One incident about Abu Dujana. Remember what we say about Abu Dujana? حامل سيف رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. This Abu Dujana, when the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم was attacked, he covered himself over the body of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. Between 30 to 40 arrows came into his back. It came into his back. Anas ibn Nadr, when he passed by the group of Muslims who gave up the fighting, he asked them, why did you give up the fighting? He said, the Prophet ﷺ indeed has passed away and there is no need for us to fight. He said, why don't you die the way the way how he died? Why don't you do the same to follow his path? So Anas ibn Nadr, he said, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he had a promise with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam because he did not witness Badr. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will see for me what I can do in this ghazwa. and he got inside, and he met Sa'd ibn Rabi'a. And he said, Ya Sa'd, wallahi inni la ashummu riha al-jannati min huna. By Allah, I can smell the fragrance of Jannah from my position. And he went into the fight. And when he was killed, about 80
of the kuffar,
80 from Darbat Sayf and Rumh and Sahm were all throughout his body. Nobody could identify him except his sister from his fingerprint, from his fingers, from the banana. That's how they could find out. These Sahaba fought with intensity, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the kuffar of Quraysh, when they saw this kind of defense from the Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim, they start pulling back, and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam started marching toward Al-Madinah, and he reminded those, and most of them who left their position were killed inside that battlefield. Why? Because of one single disobedience. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in the Quran, and He said, أَوَلَمَّا أَصَابَتْكُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَدْ أَصَبْتُمْ مِثْلَيْهَا قُلْتُمْ أَنَّ هَذَا قُلْ هُوَ مِنْ عِنْدِ أَنفُسِكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed us through this incident, when the Sahaba disobeyed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the course of the entire battlefield shifted from gain to fear loss. So inshallah, tomorrow we're going to be talking about Hamza radiallahu anhu. So yeah, we can continue a little bit about that. So inshallah we're going to be talking about Hamza radiallahu anhu. As we know that Hind bint Utbah, she was the wife of Abu Sufyan. No, it's a wife. It's the wife of Abu Sufyan. It's a wife of Abu Sufyan. It's not his sister. So no, her father and her brother, and her other brother died in the battle of Badr. So what she did, she went after an Ethiopian servant called Wahshi. And she said, if you fulfill my promise, my desire, by killing Hamza, I will give you your freedom, and I will give you the gold, and I will give you silver. So that's what this person, so Hind hired this person to kill Hamza. And indeed, he was able to kill Hamza, and he basically hit him with a, javelin, the javelin, and he got into his groin, and he died instantly. But Hind was not satisfied with that. She had to come and open his chest and pull his liver, and she was eating it like that, just to show the hate that she had toward Hamza. What we call it, Asadullah. He was, the lion, So basically, she pulled his liver. She pulled his liver, and she was eating it like that. When the Prophet ﷺ came and saw Hamza in that position, he cried so much. He used to love his uncle so much. So when he saw him in that position, he cried so much, and he said, Prophet ﷺ gave a commandment that all those who have died to be buried like that, without any loss, without anything. Even the blood in the day of judgment will be the fragrance of musk. And then he said a beautiful, important thing, the Prophet ﷺ. He said, "Ibda'u bihuffaz al-Quran." Start burying those who memorize most of the Quran, and put them where? In the lahad. Put them where? In the lahad. That's what the Prophet ﷺ, and then he said, and bury the rest after them. And that Wahshi later on accepted Islam. When he came to the Prophet ﷺ, He said, I will never object to your deen, to becoming a Muslim, but I just cannot see you, because every time I see you, you remind me of my uncle Hamza. So Wahshi went to a different town, not until the Prophet ﷺ died, and kept his promise of the Prophet ﷺ until the Khilafah of Umar ibn Khattab, where he went after who? The biggest liar, Musaylim al-Kaddab. He went after Musaylim al-Kaddab and he killed him as a revenge for Hamza. You see, and alhamdulillah, Islam become very good. So inshallah, tomorrow we will be talking about the last things about Ghazwat Uhud, inshallah, then we can move to another Ghazwa. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه يا فوز المستغفرين. اللهم اجعلنا من الذين يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه.
أسلمت هند